Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ebenezer Moment. Today, I'm diving into one of God's sacred callings, motherhood. Motherhood, with its rewards and challenges, is life's greatest gift. Whether you are a mom, you have a mom, or have been shaped by a spiritual mother, a foster mother, a surrogate mother, this episode is for you. There is a mother in your life, biological mother, adoptive mother, or a mentor, a female mentor. This episode is for you to explore together this sacred calling, this gift called motherhood. We'll explore from 4 women in scriptures, look at their experiences and their examples, and glean some lessons about motherhood. One of the things that will recur as a theme is that motherhood is ordained by God. It's God's gift, ordained by God, but also accomplished through His grace, through God's grace. He ordained motherhood. He gifts humanity with that foundational gift of motherhood, but He also gives us grace. Grace to live out, to be mothers, to nurture the others, and to raise up children. So, join me as we get started looking at these 4 examples from women in the Bible. Join me after the break. Ebenezer. Let's take steps back right to the very beginning, with the very first woman. Her name is Eve. The name Eve literally means mother of all living. Adam gave Eve that name, saying she'll be called Eve because she's the mother of all living. But here is the kicker. She wasn't even a mother at the time. She didn't have any children. She was given the name Eve as an ordained path. Motherhood is God's design, a foundational way of continuing the human race. She was called Eve before she experienced motherhood. Actually, that came after the fall. And even with the fall, when sin entered the world, God's grace is shown in the fact that God told Eve that her seed will crush the head of the devil. And we see the genealogy all the way till Mary in the Bible. Mary is gifted with the gift of her son, Jesus, and the one who eventually brings redemption to the world. So key points of discussion here include how Eve's legacy points to the salvation of humanity, the seed of the woman, who finally brings redemption to humanity. Motherhood is stewardship, but not a perfection. Even through sin, there was a way out to get back on track and continue the plan that God had for humanity through the seed of the woman. We read in Genesis 3:20, Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all the living, because he would become, future tense. Because by faith, they see the future. The name reflects what God has ordained, what God has planned for her to be, mother of all living. Here are some key points for discussion, some reflections. How does seeing motherhood as a calling shift your perspective, whether you're a mother or you have a mother? How does it shift your perspective to imagine motherhood as ordained by God and also enabled by God's grace? Think about that as we go and look at the second life example of motherhood, Ebenezer. Up next is Sarah. Sarah is next in our example of 4 women in the Bible who embody motherhood, their life experiences and lessons that you can draw from their life experiences about motherhood tell us something bigger about motherhood. Sarah at 90 laughed at God's promise that God will give her and Abraham a child and that she'll become the mother of all nations, the mother of nations. The promise actually says, Genesis 17:16, I will bless her and will surely give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. Kings and peoples will come from her. And Sarah laughed. If you're 90, it's very likely that many of us would have reacted the same way. It feels like a bad joke. She had really wanted a child, and all she gets is a promise, and she's approaching 100. But God kept that promise. She gave birth to Isaac. It wasn't a joke. It was a miracle. It was a gift. From Sarah's experience, from Sarah's life example, we learn that motherhood is a gift. It's a gift from God. Her story reminds us that also about the waiting, just believing God and waiting on a promise that seems impossible to achieve. Whether you are an adoptive mother or a foster mother or a spiritual mentor, we all can identify with Sarah that it's a gift, it's a privilege. Whether you have a mother, a relationship with a mentor, with a foster mother or an adoptive mother, it's a gift. That relationship is a gift. We have guests who will reflect on their own motherhood. Identify with Sarah. Some may have been waiting for a long time. Others may still be waiting, hoping, desiring a moment where they can experience motherhood. Whether it's fertility challenges. We want to hear your stories as you connect with each other and share your stories of what that means for you. And also hope with you and pray with you that God will accord that gift in whatever way that is possible, whether it's a biological child or an adoptive child or a relative, a child of a relative whose parent right now is unable to take care of them. Whatever the situation, whatever the case, we know that motherhood is a gift, a sacred calling, and we want to hear your stories as you reflect on your own experiences. We'll be back with another example, Moses' mother, Ebenezer. Our next example is Jochebed, Moses' mother. She hid her son for as long as she could to protect him from immediate danger. From Jochebed, we learn that motherhood is a commitment. It's a calling that calls one to give off of themselves and do everything in their part, protect a vulnerable young one who is in their care, who is entrusted in their care. And that is love, but it's also a radical faith. When a child has been entrusted in your care, when the Lord gives us with a child, whether it's our biological child or a vulnerable person who is in need of our support and our help, in response, we do everything we can to protect that child. And we learn that from Jochebed. Her protective nature, motherhood by nature is protective. Her protective nature comes out when there is threat to the life of Moses. Prayer, just want to share with you some clips from individuals as they share their stories about what it is like to let go. For Jochebed, she let go her child very early in life. But sometimes we let go our children at later in stage, maybe going away to high school or going to serve God elsewhere, to explore their professional opportunities, to explore education, to move to another country. It's a challenge letting go. We want to keep them, want to protect them, want to keep them safe. But by faith, we let them go. When we have done the best we can for as long as we can, a time comes to let go. And then we let them go, but we know that we are entrusting them in the hands of the one who gave them to us in the first place. We read Exodus 2:3. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket and placed it among the reeds along the Nile and asked Moses' sister Miriam to keep watch. For a mother, there is that natural desire to protect. And that is also likened to God's word when God says in Isaiah 49:15, can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. Our ultimate parent will not forget us. Think about that. Ebenezer. Finally, we meet Lois and Eunice, grandmother and mother of Timothy. And from these two women, we learn that motherhood is a lifelong journey. And the influence of motherhood spans from one generation to the next and beyond. The quiet and faithful discipleship that they offered from the grandmother to the mother was passed on to the son. And see, the son eventually becomes a disciple, a follower of Christ, and a minister. The influence. God uses the natural influence of motherhood, the faithfulness of the mothers, the faith of the mothers eventually present itself to the third generation. It's a lifelong imprint that leaves hand and footprints, voices in the lives of the next generation. As they hear their mother's voices, as they follow their mother's examples, one mother to the next mother, a mother to her immediate daughter and the daughter to her son. The faith that was modeled from the great mother, the grandmother, was passed on to the grandchild. Practical takeaways. Discuss motherhood. How you intentionally pass on faith down to the next generation. When we read 2 Timothy 1:5, says, I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice. The faithful influence of motherhood. Anything you do, sometimes, unfortunately, it's a negative influence. It's passed on through generations. The hope and the prayer is that there will be some positive influence, good influence, passed on to next generations for the good of generations to come. Think about that as we listen to the reflections. Ebenezer.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you today about my experience with motherhood. And my name is Elizabeth Onyango. I'm a mother of two girls, ages 15 and 11. And I really want to just share briefly about the rewarding moments of motherhood and the challenging moments that I have experienced. And I'll do this just in brief. So in terms of the rewarding moments that I can really talk about, I know I look back and I see so many moments that I celebrate as a mother. And particularly when I look at my girls and remembering the point where they were born, there were these tiny little girls who are really totally dependent on myself as their mom in terms of providing security, providing support with daily activities. until this moment where they are both independent. They can take care of themselves in terms of just some the basic kinds of stuff, dressing up and feeding themselves, making decisions, making choices. And that really makes me feel like it is a process that God is using me to really bring in or mold these particular individuals into full human beings that could also contribute in meaningful ways in other people's lives. And with that, I remember as a parent, there are moments that we've had conversations and discussions around our faith. And I've had times when these our children have asked me questions, and sometimes difficult questions, especially on matters regarding faith. And when I listen to the kind of questions, so for example, one time the girls asked, "Oh, Mommy, why should I pray? Why do we pray? Why do I need to believe?" And when things happened the wrong way, is God really there? Why did He allow this to happen to us or to me? And I think those are big questions. And I celebrated, or I still continue to celebrate the moments when I see these girls asking those kinds of questions. Because I look at the questions and it just makes me see that for sure there's something happening in the life of the kid, of the child, and they really want to ground themselves in their faith. They want to understand why they have to believe, why they have to do things the way they're seeing myself as a mom, living and trying to really model that life of faith and wanting to understand more. And when I see those kinds of things coming, it really makes me see that God is working through the lives of these little ones. But that being said, I think the reverse is also true. When they ask questions, and me as a mother, I'm there expecting that, oh, very soon, once I do my part of explaining as much as I can, then the next thing would be like, they would be declaring their faith at some point. But as a parent, you might be having your own timing, and that's where I am as a parent, for sure. It just makes me feel like we need to get to that point of declaring their faith and really showing it publicly to the people or even in charge by taking this commitment to be baptized or really speaking the word of God all the time. But that's not always the case, and especially at the time where we are living now, where there's access to a lot of information, there's a lot of exposure to different things that make people deviate from maybe the faith and all this. So it's quite challenging, especially now that they're transitioning to teenage, and just seeing some of the differences in terms of my expectation, what they embrace, and navigating some of these challenges. I think I'm still in the process of learning and just getting to understand how to navigate these spaces. So I think that's an area that I'm continuing to struggle on and just working on to really be accommodative and supportive of these little ones. Thank you.
My name is Angela. I'm a mother of 5 children. 4 beautiful girls and a handsome boy. I became a mother at 20 years old, very young, quite naive, and it was very challenging the first time I became a mother because I didn't have someone taking my hand and walking through with me in this journey of motherhood. So I had to navigate all by myself and raise this girl. who is now 19 years old. Then others came later. It has been a difficult journey, but quite interesting and full of beautiful memories of my children. Raising kids is not a walk in the park. You go through a lot of trials and tribulations, fending for them, making sure they are okay. Sometimes you're so paranoid, but at the end of it all, somehow you manage it, by the grace of God. I'm grateful for these beautiful children. You realize that motherhood brings more joy, gives a purpose to your life. It adds value. It brings a lot of satisfaction as a woman, being able to bear and raise children. It's a beautiful journey and a wonderful experience. And in regards to motherhood, I've also learned that we need to appreciate our mothers, our mother figures, who have really sacrificed a lot to bring us to this world and raise very responsible children and the women we are today. I'm so grateful, especially to my mother and my elder sister who raised me, and even my sisters who have inspired me positively to be a very responsible woman and mother to my beautiful children. To all the women out there, I want to wish them a very wonderful Mother's Day and wish them God's blessings as they navigate through this journey of motherhood. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
We can't complete without commenting that motherhood can be messy. It's miraculous, yes, but it can be messy. Think about the sleepless nights, the changing of diapers, the dealing with a wayward child, the heartache of struggling children. But by the end of the day, we thank God who ordained motherhood and who enables us through motherhood, and look up to Him and trust in Him, partner with Him, to follow His model, His ordained path in motherhood. As we celebrate mothers, those who celebrate their moms and mothers celebrating with their children, you pray that this is an eventful, a wonderful moment celebrating motherhood and the gift that God made for your individual lives to give you as gift to your mothers, bless you with the gift of your mothers, and for mothers to be blessed with the gift of those children. You are not alone in whatever journey you are in. Connect with fellow mothers. Share your stories, share your experiences, lay your stones of help as we declare Ebenezer. For thus far, it's only God who has helped us. That same God who walked with Eve in foundational years of motherhood, who journeyed with Sarah in her faithful waiting for the promise to become real, and who was beside Jochebed in her efforts to protect her child, and who helped Eunice and Lois to faithfully pass down the tenets of faith. That same God is with you. Share your stories. Don't keep them to yourself. Share so that we can also learn from your life experiences, from your experience of motherhood, and how God is part of that, and how God is helping you through that. Thank you for joining us on this Mother's Day, and have a wonderful Mother's Day in your celebrations. Till next time, Ebenezer.